This is Hope Springs Eternal. We're featuring not just the image, but the mystery of Daniel 2:34.
Daniel interprets the dream. 31 You saw, O king, and behold, a great image. This image, mighty and of exceeding brightness, stood before you, and its appearance was frightening. 32 The head of this image was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its middle and thighs of bronze, 33 Its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. 34 As you looked, a stone was cut out by no human hand, and it struck the image on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. 35 Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold, all together were broken in pieces, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, so that not a trace of them could be found. But the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. The Holy Bible, English Standard Version, Wheaton, Illinois, Crossway Bibles, 2016, D. 231, 35. Contents. Part 1 5. Today, 5. Daniel's image was of the breaking of the crust of the planet when Jesus bolted the Grand Canyon to create our safe nuclear reactor planet. In the 235 of uranium-234, God created an explosion in Grand Canyon, kitty corner to Alamogordo, New Mexico. This subsequent act of creation would predetonate the granitic crystalline rock in the four corners of America. Before World War II 1945 July 16 th. would cause a runaway effect in our solar system if not galaxy. This is the rocket of Daniel's dream, the Z-pinched lightning bolt of a heavenly origin to the U.S., in the Grand Canyon area that is referred to as the wilderness, of Revelation 12. 68 Hebrew GK number 74. 68 Eben/NF. From the root of 1129 through the meaning to build, TWOT 9, GK 74, 272 occurrences, AV translates as stone, S, 247 times, weight, S, 7 times, divers weights plus 68 3 times, hailstones 3 times, stony twice, carbuncle plus 688 once, hailstones plus 1259 once, hailstones plus 417 once, headstone once, masons plus 7023 once, plummet once, and A1B1 of tablets. 1B2 marble, hewn stones. 1C precious stones, stones of fire. 1D stones containing metal, or, tool for work or weapon. 1E weight. 1F plummet, stones of destruction, also made of metal. 1G stone-like objects, e.g. hailstones, stony hard, ice. 1H sacred object, as memorial Samuel set up to mark where God helped Israel to defeat the Philistines. 1I, simile. 1I1 sinking in water, motionlessness. 1I2 strength, firmness, solidity. 1I3 commonness. 1J, medivh. 1J1 petrified with terror. 1J2 perverse, hard heart. Part 1. Today.
Okay, so what I'm going to say
there will
here,
be 3 key issues.
So what I wanted to say with that last part is that this is the stone that destroyed the whole periodic element. The Earth had to be predetonated because World War II was going to be caused to split the atom, which is Nikola Tesla was against the natural elements. This is the stone or the rocket that came and Z-pinched the planet pre-detonating so that we would have a safe environment when Satan would come down and do his dirty work in World War II with a lot of different players going on.
Today, there will be 3 key issues. 2 are physical and historically related. The last is an interpretation of a concept of restrainer from 1 Thess 2:3.4. In this illustration, there are 2 restrainers. This concept is known in Greek as the katechon, and both men bookend the life of the Antichristos. Henry Kissinger, 1923-2023. Together they claimed New York City as their home. One came to America in 1884 and the other is a native of said state. There are several terms that are similar in our discussion here.
The 2 men. Okay, so I guess we're
Hence the need to introduce a concept that assists us in the fragility of understanding our base concepts. The need to illuminate and expound on the Acta of Hebrew, binding of Isaac, Genesis.
I just wanted to say that Nikola Tesla came in 1884, and Donald Trump is the other katechon, and he was born in New York.
This 22 is the Greek term for announcing redemption on the world stage, the father/son act of Abraham and Isaac. The term is onomastica. Onomastica. Deriving from. There will be 3 key issues. 2 are physical and historically related. The last is an interpretation of a concept of restrainer from 1 Thess 2:3.4. There are the need to illuminate and expound on the Acta. There are several terms that are similar in our discussion here, hence the need to introduce a concept that assists us in the fragility of understanding our base concepts. The need to illuminate and expound on the Acta of Hebrew, binding of Isaac, Genesis 22, is the Greek term for announcing redemption on the world stage, the father/son act of Abraham and Isaac. The term is onomastica. Onomastica. Deriving from the Greek nu omicron mu alpha, onoma, name, an onomasticon is a specific type of text that groups words by common association in order to illuminate another text or aspect of reality. Given the significance attached to names in the Bible, example Gen 3:20, 25:24, 26, Matt 1:21, Heb 7:2, it is not surprising that a popular form of onomastica among Jews and Christians offered interpretations of biblical names and places. Many of these interpretations are straightforward attempts to elucidate the etymological meaning of various names, but occasionally the interpretation takes on broader theological significance. In explaining Adam's name, for example, one onomasticon explains that his name encompasses the entire world with each letter of the Greek, delta mu, Adam, representing one of the 4 corners of the earth, alpha, A, equals nu alpha tau omicron lambda, Anatole, east, delta, D, equals delta sigma iota, desist, west, alpha, A, equals rho kappa tau omicron, arctos, north, and mu, M, equals mu epsilon sigma eta mu beta rho alpha, mesembria, south. According to this view, Adam's own name testifies to his position as the source of the whole human race that now fills the 4 corners of the earth. Woots, Onomastica Sacra, 2:685. Adam is spread in 4 corners when blasted. Likewise, Jesus split his Adam in the 4 corners of the USA, in the catatonic catechism within the 46-mile inner gorge of the Grand Canyon, New Jerusalem or New Eden via uranium-92 creation. Thus, in this oratory, we claim Arizona is the Holy of Holies or Hallow of Hallows where Satan and the man of sin are buried, till they are exhumed to hell. God to Abraham that his descendants would survive. Genesis 22 The Octata, Earth Saga with the Dragon and the Christos. It appears God's understanding begins in Genesis with the problem, our planet needs to be converted into a safe nuclear reactor. The first word has embedded an image of a bomb. Conclusion to the promise. The helper in this drama is Christ Jesus, who was substitute for our son, Isaac, in the form of a ram, cleansing Isaac from the moles or sunspots of cooling designed to destroy our planetary system. Eve and the son, Isaac, are seen together battling the dragon in Revelation 12 for the life of our son, that has been taken over by Lucifer and his unholy sun moles or spots that have surreptitiously tunneled this sphere.
So that is the crux of our discussion. Satan has always wanted to destroy the earth, but he can't, or he decided to do it through going after our son, which is the Hebrew name for Isaac.
In the tabernacle of the man in the moon, serpent in the sun. Pre-Genesis, what happened? Lord's gathering his elect, at his coming. Shaken, sigma alpha lambda epsilon upsilon theta nu alpha iota. From sigma lambda omicron, the tossing or swell of the sea, seal rate is, Latin speed of light.
It's not it's not sounds like the celeritas is this is the E for the E is the C in the E equals MC squared. It's celeritas. C stands for celeritas. So we have here the Greek name for Jesus is the equivalent of the Hebrew name Yeshua, meaning the Lord shall save. And the Grand Canyon is Mount Zion that was formed during the 3 hours of darkness to pre-detonate our granite crust, so Satan would not be able to destroy all life and cause a runaway effect in our galaxy called Rebecca in Hebrew. In Genesis, the Hebrew word for our galaxy, name for our galaxy. And Mr. Marvin, in his word studies, says on 2 Thessalonians 2, on them that know not God, obey not the gospel in mind more correctly from your mind. They are to keep their heads under the temptation to fanatical extravagances concerning the Lord's appearing.
Moberly argues that Gen 22:15, 18, the last of the divine promises to Abraham, is central to the construal of the Abrahamic promise more generally. Moberly suggests that the shared usage of the unique command to go between Gen 22 and 12:1, 3, Lech Lecha, signals a parallel testing, where previously Abram was called to leave his past, he is here called to leave his future, giving up the child of promise. Moberly, Bible, 71-131, Genesis, 99-100, Acta, 55-73.
And by the way, that's Akidah, not Acta.
Unrad, Genesis, 239, compare Kisiuto, Genesis, 309 ff, Sarna, Genesis, 150. The second is directly related to Calvary in 30 AD, when Jesus created a new Eden, in the form of the then freshly harvested uranium-235 originating in Grand Canyon, where the newly created element U-235 is born. Gabatha.
And this is due to, and I need to put a little footnote in here for Dr. Brown, because Dr. Brown is the one that discovered that that's where that uranium uranium is caused through the detonation of granite, and I think it was original in the Grand Canyon. So we'll put Walter Brown there, and he's 1970. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go into the other part, the 3 parts. We'll see a schematic of this in just a minute.
The second is directly related to Calvary in 30 AD, when Jesus created a new Eden, in the form of the then freshly harvested uranium-235 originating in Grand Canyon, where the newly created element U-235 is born. Gabatha. Of Aramaic origin cf 1003.
And that's Gabbatha, by the way.
355, GK 1119, AV translates as Gabatha, once one a raised place, elevation. Additional information, Gabatha equals elevated or a platform, in the Greek was called lithostratos, or the pavement of stones, as the Syrian version renders. In 2 Kings 16:17 we read, King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases, and removed the laver from off them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it and put it upon the pavement of stones. In Ahaz's case his act was the conclusive token of his abject apostasy. So here a pilot coming down to the apostate Jews. In the former case it was a Jewish ruler dominated by a Gentile idolater, in the latter, a Gentile idolater dominated by Jews who had rejected the Messiah. AWP John 19:13. 2 Kings 7:1-3 Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven, and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. 2 And the priests could not enter into the house of the Lord, because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. 3 And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down, and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement, and worshipped, and praised the Lord, saying, For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. The first 2 have their fullness in Calvary AD 30, one is the promise to Isaac, the sun star, that Jesus in 2024 would extricate the dragon Lucifer from our light above. He would lay down on the sunshine of Isaac as the wood was laid on Isaac, as he is bound to the wood of the cross as the carpenter. Simone of Cyrene was the donkey on that the offering of Christ was laid. He would be bound to the wood and in 3 days would resurrect. God was pleased.
This is a really long explanation. I think you're going to have to get the paper, because I don't think I want to go through all this. But now I think the Gabbatha is in which is what this explanation is. The Gabbatha is in the Grand Canyon, where Jesus holds court.
His life as the ram caught in the thorny crown, and the other was when he produced the New Jerusalem in the Grand Canyon, AZ. This was the wilderness of Revelation 12 that Eve the woman fled to, where Jesus split the granite crystalline rock from its base and the Z-pinching effect radiated the granite without destroying the planet. Katechon refers to the 2 individuals that bookend Henry Kissinger's life with Nikola Tesla and Donald Trump. Acta Gabbatha, Solomon's Temple Grand Canyon Katechon. Genesis 22:1. Calvary Matt 27.
So here is the schematic of what I'm trying to say here, that there's 3 issues in this paper. It's about Isaac, so Isaac is the overarching issue, but this is these 3 right here. The Akedah to the left, far left, the Gabbatha, and the katechon, or ketchon. It's almost like ketchup. Genesis 22 is a story of, this is the periodic elements that I'm going to give the reference to this black gentleman on Joe Rogan that was talking about this, but it was very, it's not his grid, it's a grid another scientist. And what it is, this is the periodic elements here. So you have hydrogen at the top, and you have all these that spring off of this. It's like it's like a DNA spiral, actually. And this is Abram, the father's radiation. Abraham. It's a Egyptian writing piece that Moses was trying to communicate the periodic elements from God. And this is the story of how Isaac, who is part of the periodic elements, obviously, and the table that Genesis 22, or Genesis refers to as Abraham, and how Jesus is going to save his creation. Gabbatha, here is the Solomon's Temple in the Grand Canyon. I don't think this is the Gabbatha. This is on the east end of the canyon. I think the Gabbatha is closer to the 46-mile inner gorge. So, but this is called Solomon's Temple in the Grand Canyon. That's its name, Solomon's Temple. And so this is where Jesus split the planet to make a safe nuclear reactor. He did it in the Grand Canyon area, in that 46-mile wide gorge. It was split there, and that's where Satan's and subsequently Henry Kissinger's hell is. The third term is the term katechon, katechon. It's 1 Thessalonians 2:3-4. It's the restrainer. So both Tesla was there at Kissinger's ascendancy to power, and Trump was there when he died. To not to put too fine a point on it. So the judgment stone. The judgment stone of Christ in the Grand Canyon after his new Eden